A poor man doesn't deserve to have a woman. Today you'll understand how money and women are intertwined, and that if you're a guy who isn't on the right financial path, a woman will be a major downfall that will likely ruin your life goals. This statement isn't just harsh, it's ruthlessly accurate. Because it's not about moral judgment, but about raw biology, social psychology, and above all, power. The moment a man decides to ignore this truth, he's not being romantic, he's signing his own emotional and financial sentence. And worse still, with a smile on his face, thinking he's in love. We live in an age where men are trained to seek affection before seeking strength. They're taught to believe that love conquers all, that the right woman transforms, that the right relationship lifts you up. That's beautiful. That's poetic. But it's also the greatest psychological prison of modern man. What should be a partnership effectively becomes an invisible battlefield where the weakest kneels and the strongest dictates the rules, even if that stronger one isn't the man. See, when a poor man gets involved with a woman, he's in most cases unconsciously seeking anesthesia. The woman becomes a temporary relief from his bankrupt existence. He's not looking for love, he's looking for oblivion. To forget that he lives with his parents, to forget that he hates his job, to forget that his life is a slow-motion failure. She becomes the only thing that makes him feel alive, loved, enough. But this affection is bought with the worst kind of currency, abandoning his own mission. That's the crux of the matter. Because instead of focusing on building an empire, he's playing house. Instead of putting his energy into dominating the market, he's trying to control the volatile moods of a woman who deep down doesn't admire him. Because yes, she feels it. She feels it when she's with a small man. And I'm not talking about height, I'm talking about posture. I'm talking about capacity, I'm talking about legacy. Nietzsche said that happiness is the feeling that your power is growing. And that's precisely what you give up when you put a woman at the center of your life. Before being someone else, you diminish, you belittle yourself. And what doesn't grow, rots. Many try to romanticize the idea of growing together, of building with a woman by your side, of starting from scratch together. But this is the most dangerous illusion we've ever sold to men. Because the reality is that when scarcity hits, when the rent is late, when bills explode, love evaporates. Affection dissolves in the chaos of survival. And it's at that moment that she will look at you and see exactly what you've been trying to hide. That you are weak. And worse, dependent. Therefore, this isn't a criticism of women, it's a warning to men. Because the woman who loves you but realizes you're using her as an escape from your reality will punish you. She will unconsciously sabotage the relationship. She will lose respect. She will start testing you. She will throw your flaws in your face. Because what started as romance has become a burden. She is now a crutch for a lame man. And a woman was born to be a queen, not a crutch. And that's why poor men don't deserve to have a woman. Not because they're bad people, but because they're trying to outsource their motivation. Because they're waiting for a woman's validation to pull them out of the mud. And that will never happen. No woman will save you. No woman will transform you. No woman will build an empire for you. The most she can do is enter the castle after it's ready. And even then, she will only stay if she feels she's standing before a king. Love is a consequence, never a strategy. And when you reverse this order, you sow chaos in your own destiny. And the price is high. Dysfunctional children piling up bills, lost respect, evaporated desire. So if you still think finding the right woman will change your life, stop now. What will change your life is becoming the right man. The right woman will come later, and she will have no choice but to want you. From now on, you will understand why this search for a relationship before building a solid foundation is the greatest sabotage of your existence, and how it arises silently, disguised as romance, but driven by the deepest inner weakness, escaping from oneself. Because, ultimately, the man who seeks love before seeking power doesn't want a woman, he wants a mother. And no woman respects a man who wants to be a son. You grew up hearing that love is the most powerful force in the universe. That finding someone who truly loves you is the key to happiness. That the right relationship heals, strengthens, and builds. But no one told you what happens when a man enters a relationship seeking salvation, not expansion. What no one tells you, because it's too cruel to be accepted, is that love only flourishes where there is respect. And respect, my friend, isn't born from scarcity. It's born from admiration. Most men who are emotionally broken today were deceived by this romantic narrative. They believed they could be happy with someone even when they were unhappy with themselves. And this isn't naivete. It's cowardice disguised as hope. Because it's easier to seek affection than to face one's own emptiness. It's more comfortable to chase a girlfriend than to look in the mirror and admit, I am a walking failure trying to fill the existential hole with affection. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said that love is a trick of nature to ensure reproduction. Too strong? Maybe. But think about it coldly. When you look back and analyze with brutal honesty the relationships you've had, how many of them were truly grounded in mutual growth and purpose? And how many were just emotional crutches between two people trying to escape themselves? It's precisely at this point that a man begins to sink. He's not looking for a woman, he's looking for relief. He's looking for someone to distract him from the fact that he hates his body, despises his job, and is ashamed of his bank account balance. And this woman becomes the light show on a crumbling stage. She's the emotional escape from silent pain. And the problem with this is that no woman is meant to emotionally support a directionless man. This wears her down. This revolts her. This turns her into something she herself doesn't want to be, a resentful mother of an adult child. And worst of all, this man, even aware of his own internal bankruptcy, still thinks he has something to offer. He believes that being nice, loyal, and attentive is enough, but that's the bare minimum. This doesn't seduce, this doesn't protect, this doesn't inspire. This is just a reminder that he's harmless, and the harmless is never chosen. The harmless is tolerated until something better comes along. Women, however emotional, can't resist the biological instinct to seek protection and advancement. It's built into their DNA. They're not cruel because they want more. They're selective by nature. And when a man tries to compensate for his lack of power with affection, she senses it. She might even try to stay. She might even fool herself for a while. But eventually, the bill comes, and it comes at a high price. You start to see the tests. The criticism disguised as jokes. The disapproving look when you say you're trying to start your own business. The frown when you say you're going to focus on a personal project instead of going out to dinner. And no, this isn't because she's toxic. It's because she's already understood that you're trying to be someone, when you should already be someone. The contradiction is brutal. While the man thinks he's offering love, the woman sees only dependence. While he feels brave for opening his heart, she feels suffocated by having to carry two bodies. And when you start demanding affection, reciprocity, and dedication, she's already emotionally disconnected. Because to her, you're no longer a man, you're an emotional burden. Then the vicious cycle begins. You feel distant, and so you give her more attention, more time, more effort. But each demonstration of yours seems to worsen, because she no longer wants that. She wanted someone who would inspire her, not kneel. She wanted a leader, not a follower. And at that moment, silent hatred is born. She begins to despise the very thing you thought would make her love you. Jean-Paul Sartre said that hell is other people, but the truth is that true hell is being an emotionally dependent man trying to extract respect from a woman who sees you as inferior. It consumes the soul. It destroys identity. It turns the relationship into an emotional prison where your every gesture only reinforces how small you are. And do you know what's even more tragic? That this type of man doesn't realize he's self-sabotaging. He believes he's being faithful, intense, dedicated. But all of this, without structure, is just desperation. It's the cry for help of someone who doesn't want to be abandoned. And the woman senses this like a child senses fear. She can't hide her discomfort, and she begins to look, even unconsciously, for someone who seems stronger, more centered, more in control. That's where the passionate cuckold is born. The one who did everything for her and was betrayed. Who loved intensely and was dumped. Who gave everything he had and was ignored. And he never understands what happened, because he never understood that love isn't enough. That presence isn't enough. That affection is worthless when it's not accompanied by leadership, security, and direction. Do you think you're ready for a relationship because you feel like you're in love? That proves nothing. Loving someone doesn't make you worthy of her. What makes you worthy is being a man so solid that she feels proud to lie beside you. And that only comes when you address your own gaps before seeking to fill someone else's. Look around. See the men who become role models. See the ones who are followed. The ones who have women who admire them. None of them started out loving. They started building, shaping, facing their own demons before trying to be a part of someone's life. And when they got there, they didn't need to chase any woman. They came because power has gravity. And you're still acting like a satellite trying to orbit someone who doesn't even want to be in your system. The brutal truth is that a man who enters a relationship without direction is going to the slaughterhouse with a smile on his face. He's signing a contract of continuous devaluation. He's entering a field where he'll never be respected and therefore never truly loved. Because a woman might stay, she might even try, but deep down, she's just waiting for the right time to leave. Or worse, to destroy you from within. And all this because you believed it was noble to love before winning. That it was beautiful to share the pain. That it was romantic to grow together. But in the real world, where bills come due, children are born, and pressures explode, love without structure becomes a time bomb. So before seeking a woman, seek yourself. Before seeking romance, seek power. Before giving yourself, build yourself. Because only when you are self-sufficient do you truly have something to offer. Everything before that is just emotional exchange disguised as love. And the price of that exchange is your dignity. What you're about to see next is even more disturbing. Because if we've talked about illusion up until now you'll face the price. The real cost of being with a woman when you're not yet man enough to lead. And make no mistake, this price isn't symbolic. It's financial, emotional, and existential. And you may already be paying it without realizing it. A man who enters a relationship without power is like someone who skydives without checking if his equipment is ready. At first, the adrenaline rush is delicious. But when the ground approaches, despair comes with a taste of blood. Having a woman who isn't ready to lead isn't just a mistake, it's a time bomb planted in the middle of your own peace. There's an invisible, and almost always irreversible price that few men dare calculate. And I'm not just talking about the money spent on dinners, gifts, and split bills. I'm talking about the silent erosion of your authority, of the respect you never earned, of the masculinity that evaporates every time she has to solve a problem that was yours. When a man enters a relationship without the ability to provide, he's not building together. He's outsourcing responsibilities that are biologically his. And no matter how much modern society tries to relativize this, the invisible rules still exist. They're inscribed in instincts, in the collective unconscious, in the DNA of the male-female dynamic. A woman might even say she doesn't care about money, that she wants to grow together. But try failing for too long. Try failing to pay a bill, being late on the rent, needing her to cover the credit card. The look changes, patience turns to judgment, admiration turns to demand. Because what was empathy turns to frustration, and you slowly become the failed project she pretends to still believe in. And it doesn't stop there. There's an even darker consequence, role reversal. When the man doesn't fulfill his role as provider, the woman instinctively takes control. And thus arises the phenomenon of the masculinized woman. Not because she wanted to, but because the lack of leadership forced her to. She becomes the one who solves, the one who decides. The one who thinks for two, the one who gives orders without wanting to give orders. Because someone needs to keep the structure standing. And you've already proven you can't. And that's when you begin to lose everything beautiful about a woman. Lightness turns to hardness, delicacy turns to coldness, the soft voice turns to orders, and emotional connection turns to distance. She becomes another man in the house, sleeping in the same bed, fighting for territory. Competing with you, not for power, but for survival. And do you know what the final blow is? It's that, even so, you'll think you're being a good partner. You'll think you're trying. You'll be outraged by her coldness, her disinterest, her contempt. You'll play the victim. You'll say she's changed. But she hasn't. She's only revealed what was hidden, that she never wanted to be the man in the relationship, that she's tired of being the emotional and financial support of a functioning adult. And while you suffer, she looks outward. At work, online, on the streets, she sees other men. Men who dominate, who exude power, who don't depend on her. And worst of all, these men make her feel like a woman again. And that's addictive. Because every woman deep down wants to be cared for, admired, desired, not out of necessity but by choice. And you offer none of that. It only offers debt, complaints, and burdens. Betrayal in this context isn't the greatest punishment. It's the liberation she's been waiting for. And when she leaves, she won't look back. And you'll be left with the same look as all the men who were left by the women they supported. A mix of anger, shame, and regret. Anger for having given everything, shame for not having been enough, and regret for not understanding that a relationship is about an exchange of energy, not emotional handouts. And here comes the most perverse detail. Even when she's still with you, the emotional betrayal has already begun. She no longer opens up. She no longer admires you. She no longer sees you as a role model. And when a woman stops admiring you, it's over. She can continue living with you, eating with you, sleeping with you. But her heart already belongs to someone else. Even if that someone hasn't shown up yet. And it's not just about money. It's about what money represents. Ability, structure, leadership, future. It's not about being a millionaire. It's about being trustworthy. About being a man she can follow without fear. Someone she can trust with her children, her home, her name. Someone she looks at and thinks, this is the man who will take me where I want to go. If you're not that, then you're just a burden she tolerates, out of pity, convenience, or fear of being alone. Many men try to compensate for this failure by offering affection, loyalty, sex. But that's like trying to pay off $1 million debt with coins. It's no use. If respect doesn't exist, nothing else has value. And respect only arises when she feels you're superior. Yes, superior. In vision, in purpose, in emotional stability, and most importantly, in structure. Society can scream the opposite. It can say that men and women are equal, that there's no such thing as a provider, that women are independent. But try failing at the basics. Try not being able to take your wife out of work. Try seeing her tired, stressed, emotionally ill from the pressure of being everything at once. And then, when she sees you as a man who doesn't protect her from the world, you'll see how much this equality collapses in practice. And there's no point in asking for understanding. Because a woman may even love you when you're lacking, but she'll never respect you when you're weak. She may even try to help you, but that destroys the chemistry. She may even stay with you, but she won't give herself. And a relationship without surrender is just a bankrupt society with a birth certificate hanging on the wall. This is why you need to understand. There is no wrong woman. There is only a wrong time. And the wrong time is trying to build something with a woman when you are still trying to build yourself, when you still need help, when you are still what Nietzsche called the unfinished man, the one who needs applause before merit, who needs presence before purpose. And here's the detail no one wants to face. A woman doesn't want an equal. She wants someone she can admire. And you will never be admired as long as you are dependent. As long as you need her help to pay the rent. As long as you ask for permission to grow. As long as you are not the man capable of providing for the home, silencing the outside world and saying, stay, here you have peace. You can disagree. You can argue. You can call it sexist, backward, toxic. But reality doesn't change with speeches. Reality imposes itself. And if you don't understand this, you'll spend your entire life trying to be the nice man everyone likes, but no woman truly desires. And worse, you'll teach this pattern to your children. You'll repeat the cycle. You'll raise weak boys who seek validation from girls, and jaded girls who become overly masculine because they can't find men worthy of leadership. And so the world becomes the emotional chaos we see today. Broken homes, unbalanced children, depressed men, and frustrated women. So understand, before having a woman, have a plan. Before sharing a bed, have a mission. Before starting a family, build an empire. And only then, invite someone to join it. The problem was never having a woman. The problem is wanting a queen. Before building the throne. And herein lies the greatest trap of modern masculinity. Men who jump from relationship to relationship, trying to find validation for a life that hasn't even begun. They're looking for love, But what they really need is direction. The new rule of the game is clear. The right woman only appears when you become the right man. And the right man isn't born by chance. He's forged in chaos, discipline, and responsibility. He's the one who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, because he's already everything he needs to be for himself. And the curious thing is that when you become this man, the game changes completely. You stop chasing, you stop explaining yourself, you stop begging for attention, because now you're the one filtering. You're the one choosing, you're the one setting the pace. And not because you've become arrogant, but because you've finally understood your own worth. This is the turning point, and almost no one reaches it. Because it's lonely, it's painful. It's the exact opposite of the instant dopamine that comes from likes, idle chatter, and empty hookups. It's the process of silent reconstruction. That phase where you disappear from the radar, disappear from bars, disappear from social media, and while everyone thinks you're disappeared, you're becoming dangerous. This is the stage where the true empire begins. You start making real money, not to impress anyone, but because you've discovered what you do better than most. You shape your body, not for aesthetics, but because you understand that the man who controls the physical dominates the mental. You regulate your social circle. You eliminate emotional parasites. And you only allow those around you who have the same fire in their eyes. At this stage, you no longer want just any woman, because you know that the wrong woman can cost you years of progress. And it's not because you've become a misogynist, it's because you've become a strategist. You understand that what separates the warrior from the fool is the kind of energy he allows to share his bed. You're no longer looking for love, you're looking for alignment. The right woman, now, isn't the prettiest. She's the most loyal. She's the one who understands your mission. She's the one who doesn't compete, she cooperates. Who doesn't test, she adds. Who doesn't drain, she multiplies. And she only appears when the environment is ready, when the throne is set, when you've stopped being an emotional beggar trying to buy affection with empty promises. And here comes the paradox. When you stop looking, they appear. Because you've stopped being needy and become magnetic. Because you now emit an energy of abundance, of dominance, of silent power. And this, for a woman who still preserves her feminine essence, is irresistible. She won't want to compete with you. She'll want to surrender herself to you. Because she's finally found a man who makes her feel what no career, no boss, no modern empowerment has been able to deliver. Peace, direction, and protection. And that's why the throne must come before the queen. Because a woman too powerful for an unprepared man is a curse. But the same woman, faced with the structured man, becomes the partner who propels empires. It all depends on who you are, not who she is. Stoic philosophy teaches that a wise man doesn't react to chaos, he shapes his character to be unshakable in the face of it. This applies to war, to the market, and to love. If you still react to a woman's gaze, to her silence, to her ignoring you, you're still a slave. But when you become so solid that no feminine absence can unbalance you, you've won. You've become a king. And a king doesn't demand attention, he attracts. He filters. He determines who enters the castle. And do you know the most tragic thing about all this? Most men will never discover this power. They'll spend their lives being good boys. They'll seek to build together, split the bill, be understanding. They'll do everything right and still be replaced by men who don't even say good morning. And they'll think the world is unfair, that women are cruel, that they don't know what they want. But the truth is simple. They know exactly what they want. And what they want is a man who knows who he is. A man who has a plan, who has leadership, who has structure, who has above all options. Yes, options. Because in the real world, scarcity is a sign of weakness. The man who has few options acts in fear, acts in haste, acts in desperation. But the man who has many options is free. He doesn't tolerate disrespect, he doesn't beg, he doesn't argue. He just turns his back and continues to be a walking empire. This is the new rule of the game. It's not about being nice. It's not about making her happy. It's about being so complete that you become the destination, not the path. So brother, before you think about building a relationship, build yourself. Before declaring yourself to someone, declare war. Before giving yourself, discipline yourself. Because in the end, the right woman will be just a consequence. She doesn't come to save you. She comes because you've already saved yourself. And then when she arrives, you'll know. Because she won't pressure you, she won't test you, she won't delay you. She'll look around, see the throne, and understand this is the man worth following. And you, for the first time, won't doubt it.